What's up, my Mitch mates? Welcome back to another episode of COVID-19 Updates. Today we're going to be talking all about the magic pill to treat COVID called PAXLOVID. PAXLOVID. This is another installment of pills that may help alleviate COVID-19 symptoms. If you want to know more about other COVID-19 pills, I'll put a link to those videos in the description below. This new pill, PAXLOVID, is in current production by the well-known company at this point, Pfizer. Pfizer says that this pill will be ready in as soon as a couple of months from now, and they have said that they have enough pills to help over 20 million people in the first half of 2022. That's a lot of people, and this sounds interesting. So what the heck is PAXLOVID? PAXLOVID is something called a protease inhibitor. Now the name's not really important, but I'm gonna try to explain what this is and why it's useful in preventing the worsening of COVID-19 symptoms. When COVID-19 enters a human cell, it releases its mRNA into that cell. The mRNA is used to make proteins, which are essentially building blocks that COVID uses in order to make more of itself. The more of itself that COVID can make, the higher number of cells that it will infect in our body, leading to worsening symptoms. What PAXLOVID does is it blocks an enzyme that is used to create the COVID-19 proteins, ultimately not allowing the virus to replicate or create more of itself, stopping the infection in its tracks. PAXLOVID is given with another medication called RITONAVIR, which is a medication that's commonly given with other known protease inhibitors in order to augment their overall function. In this case, it helps PAXLOVID do its job more effectively. For one course of PAXLOVID, there are 30 pills that are given over a 5-day period. 10 of those pills are the RITONAVIR, and 20 of those pills are PAXLOVID. So how effective is PAXLOVID at killing COVID-19? Well, let's take a look at some data and see. The bottom line that is claimed by Pfizer is that PAXLOVID reduces the risk of hospitalization or death by 89%. Yes, you did hear that correctly, 89% reduction of hospitalizations or death, which is a lot, so let's take a look at this. It's important to know here that the study we're taking a look at has not been published or peer-reviewed yet. This means that the data we have currently available to us is the only study that Pfizer conducted themselves. So let's take a gander. In this study, there were 775 adults, all with mild to moderate COVID-19 symptoms. Every person in this study were completely unvaccinated, and they all were considered high risk. Being considered high risk means that these people had other chronic medical conditions such as diabetes or high blood pressure, just to name a couple. In this study, individuals were either given the PAXLOVID with the RITONAVIR, or they were given a placebo, essentially a sugar pill that has no effect on COVID whatsoever. Everyone was given either the placebo or the drug combo 3 to 5 days after being tested positive with COVID. And the results are what we talked about before. There was an 89% reduction or 89% efficacy rate 1 month after starting treatment within 3 days of first onset symptoms. Less than 1% of all the people who actually took the medication needed to go to the hospital, and not a single person died. This is compared to the placebo group that had 7 deaths with a combined hospitalization and death rate of 7%. So all of this sounds way too good to be true, right? What about side effects? So Pfizer didn't really go into too much detail about the overall rates of side effects, but they did say that both the placebo group and the PAXLOVID group reported an overall side effect rate at about 20%. In other words, 1 in 5 people from both the placebo and the PAXLOVID group reported side effects from the pill. And on average, those who actually received the medication reported a fewer number of side effects compared to those who took the sugar pill. This would mean that the actual effects of COVID are probably worse than the side effects caused by the PAXLOVID. So the next step for Pfizer is to take all of this data and submit these results to the FDA in order to try to get approved under emergency use authorization. So with everything being said, what are some benefits that we can see from PAXLOVID? Well, number one, it's a pill, and so it provides an easy measure of access that you can get your hands on something that will actually help reduce symptoms the day that you test positive for COVID. Also, it can be taken in the comfort of your own home, so you don't have to, let's say, go to an infusion center in order to get the monoclonal antibodies, which is really the only outpatient treatment for COVID that's approved today. Not technically the only one, but one of very few that we have. Another benefit is that it was shown to have good protection against all the different variants of COVID, including the infamous Delta variant. Also of note, Pfizer is currently running studies on individuals who are at low risk for developing worsening symptoms of COVID-19, and these would be people who are normally healthy, have no chronic medical conditions, and are usually younger than the age of 50. So stay tuned about future updates concerning this. How does this pill compare to other pills that are currently being developed for COVID, like Merck's MOLNUPIRAVIR? Comparing these two pills, while they both are effective in preventing COVID, they have completely different mechanisms of action, so it's really hard to make a fair comparison. That being said, MOLNUPIRAVIR's overall efficacy rate is about 50% in preventing worsening COVID-19 symptoms if given within the first 5 days of being COVID positive. If you want to know more information about Merck's new COVID pill called MOLNUPIRAVIR, I'll put a link to that video here in the top corner, as well as in the description below. If you have any more COVID-19 questions or topics that you really want to see in a future video, please leave a comment down below. As always, my Mitch mates, stay happy, stay healthy, and I will see you all on the next one.